Merry Christmas, everybody! It's Christmas cookie time! Don't we love Christmas cookies? Woo! Yes, we do. Alright, the first cookie I'm making this year is one of my favorites. It has been my favorite since I found this recipe as a teenager, and that is a long time ago for me, in a Southern Living cookbook that my mother had. And these are jam, I always called it KOLACHES. I always said jam KOLACHES cookies. I've never heard anybody else say it. But recently I heard a woman pronounce it KOLACHES. And she sounded like she knew what she was talking about. I've also seen it written out as if it was pronounced KOLACHES. And that just sounds tacky. So we're going with KOLACHES. Jam KOLACHES cookies. And these are very simple, very few ingredients, really delicious, really special looking. So, we're starting out with a softened stick of butter. Here we go. Here it is in our bowl. We are going to add to that some cream cheese that has been softening at room temperature. We are adding 3 ounces of cream cheese, which is 6 tablespoons, which is 3/8 of a cup, I think. Thick with 6 tablespoons. Alright, so the cream cheese is going into the bowl. And then you just mix them together. Now some people, some fancy high-tech people, would get out their electric mixer and beat it all up light and fluffy. And you can do that. I'm not doing that today because I never do that with my jam KOLACHES. See, I'm going right back to my old way of saying it. I think because when I was younger doing this, I don't know, it just never occurred to me to get out the electric mixer. So I'm just like stirring them together, and really, I just don't feel like trying to clean butter and cream cheese off my beaters. Honestly, that's what it's all about. So we are beating together our butter and cream cheese, which is mixing quite easily because I have had them softening for quite some time. To this we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of flour. And here it is. We'll just stir all this together until it forms a nice lovely dough. Now don't preheat your oven yet. You're going to have it at 375 eventually. But once you get this all mixed together into a dough, you're going to pop it in your fridge for a little while, just so it firms up and becomes a little bit easier to work with. You know what I mean? Because we're going to roll this out on our slightly floured work surface, and then we're going to cut it in little circles. And I'm using this big old drinking cup as my cookie cutter. I've seen people do it with squares. I've never done it in squares, but you can do it in squares if you want to. But I like it in circles. Alright, so you just get your dough blended. Watch me mix it up real quick without spilling any on the floor. And there we have a nice cohesive blob of dough. And we're going to pop it in the fridge. Yes, we are. Okay, the dough's been in the fridge about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. And so, now we are going to roll it out on our lightly dusted with flour surface. Using our slightly dusted with flour rolling pin to about 1/8 of an inch, for those of you who want to measure. Alright, we've got flour on our surface, flour on our rolling pin. We're going to roll it out. I actually put half the dough back in the fridge to keep it cold while we're working with this bit. But we'll roll it out relatively thin, and then we're going to cut it with our fancy cookie cutting glass there. And then we will put the round cookie bits here on our parchment lined baking sheet. And then you spread a little line of jam across each cookie, and then we will fold the edges in. And this is when you are preheating your oven to 375. They're going to bake for about 12 to 15 minutes. They are a very nice, delightful little cookie. Quite delightful. Alright, so we'll cut out our shapes, and we're saying a little prayer that the dough doesn't stick. Oh, pretty good. Okay, so we'll put our little discs of dough over there. Line them up on the cookie tray. We'll pop this blob of dough back in the fridge for a second while we work with these. Okay, we are using our great big Kirkland jar of organic strawberry spread. Obviously, you can use any kind of jam you like. You can use raspberry, my personal favorite. You can use blueberry. You can use apricot. You can do a variety of things. But what we do is, I guess most people would use a spoon. For some reason, I'm using a knife right now. But you just put a little line of jam across each circle as if you are defining the diameter, as it were. And these cookies, they get rolled up and they do not spread, really. So you can actually have quite a few on the cookie tray at one time. My inclination is always to overdo it a little bit on the jam, but you don't want to put too much because it will just kind of goop out the ends, so there's just no point, you know? Alright, then you just roll the edges over the jam line, like so. You don't want your dough too thick because it's going to kind of mess up your proportion of dough to jam. I also am going to do something now that I've never done before, and that is to decorate them with these little white pearly deals. So I thought they would look really cute if I just put one kind of at each spot where it folds over, like a little button, like that. Now after these are baked, you do a light dusting of confectioner's sugar. Okay, so we're going to fold and button. Now, like I said, these don't really spread or rise because they have no baking soda or baking powder, and then they're not going to puff up. So we have room here to do the rest of our dough. All right, and there we go. Ba-ba-ba-ba, beautiful. They're so festive. They're so cute. Sometimes they open up as you bake them, and then those are the ones you just eat as your little samples. Oops, and clean up the little extra blob of jam. Now, with this little extra blob of dough, I'm just going to make a couple of little round ones and just do thumbprint type cookies. Because you can do that too. So, roll it, roll it, roll it. Put it down and thumbprint. Roll, roll, roll. Roll. Roll, roll. And thumbprint. Oop. And we'll fill the thumbprint with our strawberry, oops, blop, preserves. That might be too much. Put a little in here. Clean up the edge. Come here. Oh, these are so festive. I have another thumbprint cookie coming up in a future video, but these look delightful. Oh! So we're going in the oven for 15 minutes. Alrighty, there they are, fresh from the oven after 15 minutes. See that one that kind of opened? That's the one I get to eat. So we'll let them cool off a little bit, and then we will put on our dusting of powdered sugar. Honey, you want to try a Christmas cookie?
Sure.
Come on in. How's the weather? Is it still snowing? Are you cold? Yeah? Alrighty. Here, pick one that has a lot of sugar on it, because that's how you like them.
My favorite.
Are they your favorites? You
No,
don't even know what they are, do you? Oh, sugar's his favorite. I want to try the one that kind of came apart. Mom always gets a slightly defective one.
Yummy.
Yummy, yummy?
That's a really good.
You like it?
Taste. Yeah, what is it?
It's a jam KOLACHES. The dough
What does
is,
that mean?
it means the dough is made of butter, curry, and cheese, and flour. That's all. And then you fill it with jam. I feel like I should have rolled them a little thinner.
Not for me.
Really? You like it that way? To say, adjust your thickness of your cookie however you want it. Just bake them till they're golden brown. It is delicious.
Like a mini sandwich.
A mini jam sandwich. There you go.
Now I want to put sugar on my next peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Let's see.
Oh, that's a good idea. Just sprinkle it with sugar.
We'll start there.
Oh, alrighty. So what do we have to say? Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
And?
Happy New Year.
I was going to say, and eat cookies.
And eat cookies.
Yeah. And click to subscribe. Are you pointing? You're pointing at my head? Or my head?